So today I'm going to explore a question that so basically somebody shared their story with me, and I thought it's better to react to it in a video format, because then other people can benefit and can relate to this story and learn from it basically. So the question that I'm going to explore in this video today is that, is it normal to feel that when I go through a crisis, I don't enjoy the things that I used to enjoy? So is it normal that I don't enjoy the things that I used to enjoy? Is it normal that I lose part of myself in the process? Okay. So again, I'm going to show you this little drawing of mine. Yeah. So basically, first of all, the short answer is yes, it's normal. Yeah, so it is absolutely normal. So when you go through a crisis, okay, basically your old life becomes outdated. Yeah, so your old beliefs, your old patterns, values become outdated, and so with that, your identity, in a way, your identity becomes outdated. And it's absolutely natural to feel that as you're going through the next stage, you feel like you're becoming a new person. Absolutely, you are becoming a new person. And so that means that part of yourself will die in a way, or part of you will be left behind, because those were things that are maybe outdated now. They're not useful anymore. Beliefs that are not useful anymore, right? So things will be left behind. And some things, obviously, during this crisis, which might take, years for some people, some parts might become repressed, and we forgot about those parts. And so as you're recovering, yes, if you can see the recovery process here, as you are recovering, you're going to rediscover some of those parts. And I would like to highlight basically two steps of the recovery process, or two stages if you like. And one of them is the exploration stage and testing stage. So when you're coming out of the crisis, it's very normal to feel that I just don't enjoy the things what I used to do. I would like to do something different and something new. And it's absolutely normal to feel that, and you should go with it. Just, this is your job here, really, to listen to your intuition and go with it. Whatever you feel drawn to, go with that. There's no right or wrong, and don't think about the long term, just go with it, because you are doing the exploration stage, really. And by doing that, you will see what works, what doesn't work. You will see what is it that you like as a new person. Yeah. And during this stage, you will discover new parts in yourself and new new resources. And not just new resources and new parts, but you're going to maybe integrate some of your old parts that maybe you repressed for a while. Yeah, you repressed for a while, and now it's time for them to come out again. So absolutely normal to feel that you don't want to do the same thing as you used to. And it's absolutely normal to feel that you lost part of yourself and you're becoming a new person. It's absolutely normal. Basically, that's the whole aim of a crisis, to go through the next stage and to become a different being. Yeah, but not on the same level, hopefully with bigger understanding, with growth, yeah, personal growth. You're becoming a better version of yourself with a wider understanding of things. So let me just share my own experience about it, because I think people can connect, to our stories more, and you can see the pattern. So basically, when I was going through a crisis, I felt, yeah, so when I was going through the crisis, I definitely felt that part of me died. In my previous stage, I used to love. I used to love reading. I used to love reading, and when I say used to love reading, many times, you know, I read books 3 times. 3 times, I would underline them, I would make little notes, you know, on the pages. I used to read loads of self, you know, development and personal development books about the brain, you know, this and that. In my strong and independent women stage, yeah, and I love reading. It was part of my everyday life. My favorite activity was to go to the park and read. And so what happened afterwards, when I was going down into the crisis, I realized that like I could not read anymore. I tried to read, I tried it, you know, I tried to read it and I could not focus, and I did not get engaged, and I didn't get excited about it. And actually, for me, that was quite a big worry there, because I felt like that's my identity in a way, right? Like I love reading and I love learning, and that's one of the best things I can do is learn. And I lost it. I felt like I lost part of myself, right? And I didn't know whether I was going to get it back. So for 3 years, I didn't read a book, like nothing. Obviously, I was guessing why does this happening? Back then, you see, I didn't know about these things. You know, I didn't know about these things, so I didn't have my answer to that question. So, but basically what happened is that when I started to recover, and I was going through, you know, the normal stages of recovery, and of course I had this exploration and testing stage when you just try things out. And I remember that after not reading for 3 years, I just picked up a book. And actually, I remember this so well. I remember the moment because it was very significant to me. So it was a book called Spiral Dynamics, which is one of my favorite books, and I've read it multiple times. I still remember this feeling because it's almost like part of you died before, and I thought that part of me died, like the part that likes reading, basically. But when I started reading it, because I was already in the recovery phase, you see, I was ready to integrate that part back within me, right? To become one with that part again, right? So I was ready for it. And when I started reading, I felt this, like a drop of kind of excitement coming up, you see? And I was so happy. I remember that I actually had tears, like happy tears coming out, because it was such a big deal for me. After 3 years of not being able to read a word, I become excited again, like, oh my god, this is interesting. I haven't read this for so long. And I started reading, and I felt inspired, and then I started buying new books again, and since then, obviously, I'm back at my normal stage. Again, I love reading. So I just wanted to show you that this can happen. Yeah, so this can happen, that part of you for a while will become repressed, yeah, and you feel like, oh, I just can't do that activity anymore. But don't be worried, because you can rediscover those parts later when you're ready for it and when the healing, you know, is going on. But really, there's 2 things that can happen here. One, if you don't enjoy the things that you used to enjoy, okay, it might mean, or it might be because you're going to discover completely new things, and that can happen as well. In a new stage, you're becoming a new person, it's a new identity, a new person. You might leave your whole career behind. That can happen, yeah, and it will happen especially I'm going to say during the midlife crisis, that would be especially very common. But in other crises as well later on, it can happen. But if not, and you go back to some kind of similar activity, the crazy thing is that after a crisis, you can return to the same activity but do it in a totally different level, because your understanding is kind of growing while you're going through the crisis. Yeah, your knowledge, not just knowledge, experience, or spiritual understanding is going to expand. Hopefully, if you take this as a learning experience, you're going to, your thinking is going to expand, and so you can do even the same activity in a completely different way. So hope it helps, and I hope it made sense. Yeah. Let me know if you have any more questions, or if you have a story to share with me. I would be very happy to hear it.